Hi, everyone. Welcome. I think we will just take a minute to get started. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and get started because we have, some introductory information, and even people who join late, I think, will be able to catch up with us. So let me just move on to that. Hold on here. Yeah. Um, Sorry, I'm just organizing my questions, and I think I'm all set. Okay. Yeah, again, thanks for joining. I am Kim Dixit. I'm the co-founder of the Red Pen. And just to introduce us a little bit, we are an independent education consultancy, and we help students and their families sort of navigate different educational decisions and application processes at all ages and stages of the education ladder. So we do work a lot with students who are applying to boarding school, and that's what today's event is about. We also help students with undergraduate, postgraduate, MBA, and other educational sort of stages, like I said. So today is very much focused on boarding school. If you can see here, these are just some statistics about our company, and we do support a lot of students. We have a big team, which is why it says 55 years of experience. That's not me personally. That's our whole team sort of combined. But we do have a lot of experience, a lot of expertise and specialization. So at the Red Pen, we can pretty much, sort of help you navigate whatever situations come your way. And yeah, we're very much, an organization that helps students sort of achieve their best, their highest potential. We are not, promising that we can get every single student into, the Ivy League. That's not where we're coming from. We want to make sure every student is finding their best fit college, and sometimes that is the more selective colleges across the world. But I think especially when it comes to boarding school, it's very, very important to focus on fit. And so I want to emphasize that aspect of our vision today. Yeah, we can move on to the next slide. Today we have a really exciting array of panelists. We wanted to put this particular event together in this way because I think when people are considering boarding school or talking about boarding school, they think it's one thing. It's not one thing. It can be many different things. So you can see here the representation we have from the UK, from Singapore, from India, and Switzerland. And then again, the Indian boarding school is, from a British tradition. So there's a lot of different ways to kind of explore boarding schools, and we want to bring that to you today. So I'm going to let each panelist introduce themselves. We have Iona Hutchinson from Charterhouse, Katie Phantom from UWC Southeast Asia in Singapore, Adam Joseph from Harrow International School in Bangalore, or Bengaluru, and Patrick Zucker from Institut de Rosé, and I hope I said that correctly, Patrick. I pronounced your name correctly, but I'll let you guys introduce yourselves. Why don't you go ahead, Iona?
Oh, hi. Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me to join you on this. My name's Iona Hutchinson. I'm the Director of Admissions at Charterhouse in the UK. And I've been at Charterhouse for 9 years, which has, can't believe it's 9 years, has flown by. It's been a wonderful, wonderful 9 years. I absolutely love my job. I have the privilege of meeting everybody from that first inquiry right the way through the whole admissions process, into the school, all the way through, and I see them at the end and beyond. So that's me.
Oh, Kim, we can't hear you, but I think you're introducing
Yes,
me.
Katie,
Correct?
please go ahead.
Thank you, Kim. So yes, my name is Katie Phantom. I'm the Deputy Director of Admissions at UWC SEA. And I'm also incredibly lucky to have my job in an amazing school. And I've been in this role for about 5 years. But I have been in Singapore for, I think we're in our 15th year now. And so I've worked in a couple of other schools before UWC, but I'm delighted to represent the college here today. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Katie. And Adam, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, hello everybody, and it's an absolute delight to be here and get to speak to everyone. My name's Adam Joseph. I'm obviously at Harrow, Bengaluru in India. My role here is head of the secondary school, so I get this fantastic overview. You know, I get to know our parents, get to know our school. I'm still in the classroom as well, so you know I'm at the chalk face, so to speak, teaching students. It's a fantastic place. It's a fantastic environment, and I'm very, very lucky to be here.
Thank you, Adam. I think that, yeah, you have a very unique school situation, so we're excited to learn more about it. Patrick, can you please go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yes, hello everybody. I'm very privileged to have all this audience and I'm looking forward to our panel. I'm Patrick Zürcher. I'm Director of Admission and I'm linked with Rosé since 47 years. I was 9 years a student there, and then I was not supposed to work in education, but I came back what I thought would just be a gap year after my university studies. And that gap year turned now in 38 years. I've been teaching academics. I was in sports. I was a housemaster. And now since 5 years, I'm running the admissions department at Rosé in Switzerland. So looking forward to our discussions.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Wow, that's quite a great association with the school. I think it's wonderful to have people like that around. It just shows a lot of, consistency and loyalty, and that's very important. Okay, so let's move on to some talking about your schools. And as I mentioned, each school here is very, very different. So I'd like each of you to go ahead and tell me how studying at your school in the country, wherever your school is located, is unique or has some special sort of element to it that is different from schools elsewhere that you know of. So I think I'd like to go ahead and start with Iona again.
Thank you. So, yes, well, Charterhouse. So we're one of the UK's leading independent schools. We're based in Surrey, which is just outside London, in 250 acres of beautiful countryside. Just a quick overview of the school. So we're primarily a boarding school. We have over 900 boarders. We have some day pupils as well, and we educate the children from ages 13 to 18. We're founded in 1611, a little bit of history, and very much pride ourselves on the blend of academic excellence and that strong focus on character development, sort of preparing our students to be confident, to be kind, to be future ready. I think unique, what would I say about unique? We have very much a personal approach to education. It's very much about that flexibility and that choice to allow pupils to really explore their passions and their strength. I mean, and that starts literally from the moment they walk through the door, which I think is one of my favorite things about the school, is that they try everything. So when they arrive age 13, they try everything, no choice. And that really pushes them outside that comfort zone just to get stuck in and just find what they love to do. And everyone is doing the same thing, and it's kind of really cool to be doing it. So it works really well. Our community, our campus play a really strong part in bringing all of that together, and everything is on the campus. So gosh, there's over sort of 80 different clubs and societies, there's over 20 different sports, musical instruments you can play, and they make great friendships by doing all of this. It's a great way to settle. We also take obviously children in at sixth form as well, and that has the same process. But we can go into that a little bit later. And the other thing that we really focus on at the moment is our Future You programme. And that is really about equipping all our young people with real life skills for life sort of beyond school and actually beyond university. We focus very much on entrepreneurship. We have our own entrepreneurship diploma. And it's all about sort of, I don't know, practical life knowledge, getting them ready, whether that's financial literacy, time management and organization, very useful, communication, presentation skills, sort of all of that, all sort of wrapped up in, a fantastic 5 years or 2 years. So that's a quick overview.
Thank you, Iona. Yes, I've interacted with many students, Charterhouse sixth form students, and they all are, quite sort of immersed in their sort of societies and different activities, and it seems to really enrich their experience, their academic experience.
It really does.
And academically, they're all quite strong. So that's also great. It creates a sort of nice environment and peer set to work alongside. All right, I will jump now to Adam, who has a very different context. So go ahead, Adam.
Yes, no, thanks. Yeah, we absolutely do have a very different context. So, obviously we are Harrow. We're part of a global family of Harrow schools, and we are the first Harrow school to open in India, which makes us special, I like to think. And we really aim to bring the best of British education. Obviously, with the Harrow brand comes a guarantee of quality based on a long, rich tradition of Harrow on the Hill in London. And we combine that tradition, that respect for the heritage that we have as a school, with one eye on the future. And we aim to future-proof our students as much as we can. Bengaluru, many of you might already know, it's known as the Silicon Valley of India. So we're very, very focused on our technology and on encouraging our students to be forward thinking, to be creative thinkers, to be critical thinkers, to think creatively, and to really, like I said, be future focused. Likewise, we're very much focused on holistic education, in the British tradition. So character development, our values really do form the basis of everything that we do. Our values of courage, honour, humility, and fellowship. And this is how we're tied to Harrow on the Hill in London as well. We're a close part of those communities of schools, and we have an incredible academic program. We're very academic focused. Obviously, we want to drive academics forward as much as we possibly can. We're very focused on ensuring that our students can get to the best possible universities and do everything we can to help them to get there. But likewise, we want to develop, their attributes as a person. We want them to leave as well-rounded, interesting people. And that means we encourage students to challenge themselves, to be involved in a huge range of extracurricular clubs, to try something new. And really, for us, that's part of that whole holistic development as a Harrow student.
Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, and I think it's wonderful that, it has been for a while happening around the world for students, and the Harrow tradition is available in many different countries. So that's wonderful. Katie, would you like to go ahead and talk about UWC in Singapore, speaking of schools that are all over the world?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Kim. So we are slightly different to the other schools on the call today. So we do have two colleges inside Singapore, one on our East Campus and one of our Dover campuses. And we are sort of more based in the city than we are based in the countryside. So we are slightly different in our focus, but we are a K-12 school on both of our campuses. We offer boarding just for a small portion of our students, so from grade 8, grade 9, grade 10 through to grade 12, grade 11 and grade 12. So the top end of our school is for boarders. Our boarding houses are on site, so everything is on site for our boarders, but they do use Singapore as a whole for their learning purposes as well. So it's not just on-site, it's off-site as well. A couple of unique things about us is that we do have an immense scholarship program. We're part of 18 schools and colleges around the world, the UWC movement. And part of that is to ensure that students who have no other means of an international education are an option to join an international school. So we do have a lot of scholars that come to our school who really do help broaden our diversity inside our college. Not only do we have our scholars, but we do have fee-paying students as well. And our geographical setting in university really allows students to have a real life diverse experience and really delve into the diversity of the community inside Singapore.
Great, that's amazing. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned diversity. That's going to be my next question, but let me first get Patrick to tell us about his school. Thank you, Patrick. Please go ahead.
Thank you. I'm very happy to answer this question, because I like the question that you know, what is unique, because every school has its own character. Every school is unique in its own way. There is not any best school in the world. So what makes us Rosé here is unique. Here in Switzerland, we are truly bilingual, and I would even say bicultural school, meaning that we teach in English and French. And one of the very own specificities about Rosé is that we have a dual campus lifestyle. That means we move from our main campus by the Lake of Geneva to our winter campus for 10 weeks during the second term, and come back to the main campus during the third term, which is a unique experience for our students. And we have an exceptionally international community. We have 450 students coming last year from 72 nationalities, including we have a quota on linguistic background, not on national, but on linguistic background, to make sure that we have this worldwide presence in our school. And our holistic education is underlined by our facilities. We have an art and cultural center, which is now even developed with a new tech center that we just inaugurated this graduation day in June. And we also juggle tradition and modernity. Rosé, not as old as some UK boarding schools, but in Switzerland, we're the oldest boarding school. We have been founded in 1880. And we also juggle between tradition and visions. I have to mention at the end that we also have a strong alumni and global recognition worldwide, which is also something which is our alumni always say how precious that is. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. Yes, I think that is definitely what we also hear about Rosé, and its traditions and the sort of exciting campus change in winter. So thank you for sharing that. And the next question I have is actually for you again, but I think you've covered a lot of it. But if you would like to say any more about diversity and the nationalities or the school community, if there's anything more to say, please add about diversity and how that's sort of a part of your mission and the culture of your school. You're on mute, Patrick.
Yeah, sorry, here I am. I already mentioned the diversity. Yeah, it's more than just a linguistic or cultural diversity. It is really this international world citizens that we're trying to raise with our students. I told you that we have 450 students. What I didn't mention, they are all boarders. We don't have any day students, and this pluriculturalism helps to evolve in our school. And we are, for instance, still having 26 languages that we taught last year. This is also helping the diversity of our community, because we have the languages that we teach as an instruction language, the one who are included in the curriculum, but we also attach a very high importance of keeping the cultural background, the roots. That's why we teach 21 foreign languages. Some of them we have full-time teachers, some of them we only have partial part-time teachers. Being in Switzerland, I think that's one of the assets of Switzerland, is having that many cultures and diversity within a small country.
Amazing. That does sound like a lot of languages. Thank you so much for highlighting that. Katie, would you like to talk about diversity at UWC Singapore?
Yes, thank you. So very similar to Patrick, actually. That is one of our unique elements, is the diversity of students. So just to give you an idea with regards to numbers, we are a huge school. So 2 campuses together, we're over 6,000 students. The boarders are 340-ish across the 2 campuses, ranging from grade 8 to grade 12, and 108 at the moment of those are our scholar students. We have currently in our boarding house, the last count, which was this morning, 90 different nationalities of first passport, and 52 different languages. And the languages and the countries where people come from really do range from, I've got a few written down here, Kazakhstan, Hungary, Peru, Bhutan, Congo, Chile, Marshall Islands. So a really fantastic array of diversity inside the boarding houses. And one of the aims we have in our boarding setup is to ensure as much as possible that we do not have the same nationality boarding in the same room as each other. So that really allows the students to really understand and get a really deep understanding of each other's cultures and traditions, which will ultimately lead to a greater understanding of their own country's values and their global citizenship values as well. So yeah, a very diverse group of students in our boarding houses.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm going to move on now to talk about school culture. And as I've alluded to a couple of times, I think, Charterhouse and Harrow, Bengaluru both have sort of a similar traditions and culture that of origin. But I'd like you both, Iona and Adam, to please speak a little bit about the culture of your school. So Iona, why don't you go ahead?
Sure. Yes. So thank you. I suppose the culture, and also I think you wanted to touch on things like, I suppose, the academic program and what we sort of offer. In terms of that, we offer the IGCSE program in the underschool. And then we have a choice in the sixth form of the International Baccalaureate Diploma or A levels. And we really like to be able to offer that choice, as we really recognize that the students are individual, and some really suit the breadth of the IB program and some really, really don't, and they really suit A levels. For us, we have probably about 25% of our cohort, our sixth form cohort, that will do the IB, and the rest will do A levels. But for that, we've got about 440 strong in our sixth form, so it's quite large in both those years. Anyway, and it's back to that sort of that feel for the school of that personalized education and what really fits. And as they move up through the school, we can really help guide them as to which is the best program. And for those students that are joining us in the sixth form, we have lots of support where we debate things like higher maths in the IB versus maths in the A level, just to make sure that they are not closing any doors, because most of the students are not really sure what they want to do. It's about trying to keep many of those doors open and just help them make those right choices going forward. And again, back with us, it's very much that balance of inside the classroom, outside the classroom. I touched a little bit about the co-curricular program, but it is so important. I think the others we're all talking about the same thing, about those wonderful life skills and those friendships, and that they're such informative years. This is the time to get stuck in, have a go, fail. It's such a good thing to do in this environment where you've got that wonderful support around you. We do offer a lot of different co-curricular activities. That breadth is just really important, just recognizing again that the children are so different. I think one thing I probably ought to touch on with Charterhouse is football is a really big thing for us, but that is for everybody. So everybody gets to play, and it's not all about, one team in particular, but it's about, again, teamwork, leadership, supporting each other. We're quite famous for our football, and it's a bit of a passion, but we do have a ton of other sports too. But it's it's something that everyone gets quite excited about on a Saturday, particularly when we're playing Harrow. Anyway, I'll leave it at that for now.
Perfect. Perfect segue into having Adam talk about Harrow. Please, Adam, go ahead and tell us about the culture of the school when it comes to things like, academics, sports, arts, etc.
Absolutely. So kind of similar to what Iona's, just said, we try to offer as broad a curriculum as we possibly can. So in the sixth form, we offer the IB diploma program, which really suits students who have a more broad range of interests, a more broad range of skills. And it really does encourage students to think in a more interdisciplinary manner. But also, you'll get those students that when they get to choose the sixth form, when they get to the point where they're choosing the subjects, they're more than happy to narrow down their focus, and they have a clearer idea of where they want to concentrate their energies. And in that case, the A-levels program is probably better suited to them. So we really believe in a personalized approach. We're just under 400 students at the moment. So we find that we really are able to offer individual students that close support and guidance that they need to be able to make the right options when it comes to their academic programs. And feeding into the programs in sixth form, we have IGCSE, Cambridge University IGCSE. We've got Key Stage 3 before that, and we've just opened, which I didn't mention before, it's very exciting for us, we're opening our primary school. Literally, you know, in a couple of days' time, we're going to be welcoming all of our primary students to the campus. So that is incredibly exciting for us. And that obviously allows us, you know, to think earlier on, how are we helping to ensure progression of our students into the upper age ranges of the school. So academically, we're very much focused on personalising education and catering to the strengths and weaknesses of each individual student. In terms of, you know, the extracurricular activities we have on offer, you know, if you'll go on our website, you will see the most magnificent, incredible sports facilities that we have here. You know, it's truly outstanding. We have an Olympic-sized swimming pool, squash courts, tennis courts, you know, cricket areas, 400-meter running track, football pitches, basketball pitches. There's absolutely, you know, everything here for sport. So I think we're absolutely fantastic in that sense. And also, you know, what's becoming more and more important when it comes to ensuring that students can separate themselves from other students when it comes to university applications and so on is the super curricular program. So again, this is something we focused on a lot, and especially as we prepare for this year, you know, we've got lots of programs in place to boost students' knowledge in subject areas that isn't directly related to the curriculum. So again, I made a list of the various different things we have on offer here. You know, we're hosting the Yale Model United Nations in a couple of weeks' time. We're hosting the Indian National Junior Robotics Championship very soon as well. We have an incredible Model United Nations club. We have a Junior Physics Olympiad, a mock trial club, hackathon club, quantum mechanics club. So yeah, we have a range of activities that students can get involved with, but also those super curricular aspects, which again, we know that universities are very interested in.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, thank you for sharing all those very specific details. I think it really shows, helps families understand, you know, when you say there's lots happening, that what exactly does that mean and how does it help a student rather than just keeping them busy. So moving on to the question of busy and balancing, I want to ask Patrick and Katie to talk a little bit about balance and how students in your school balance their academics and these extracurricular activities, which we're hearing so much about. So Katie, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, sure. Happy to. So just like Adam was inferring, our students are incredibly busy. Activity program that we have is one of our 5 elements of learning. So it is a mandatory part of their holistic education with us. And there are literally hundreds and hundreds of different activity programs that our students can choose across the 2 colleges. So just like Iona, you were talking about the competition between Harrow and your school, we actually have a very healthy competition between our 2 campuses. Our Phoenixes and our Dragons are constantly claiming to be better than each other. So there's a lot of fantastic, healthy rivalry between the sporting teams as well across the campuses. So typically our students will take about 10 activities a year, which translates to about 4 hours a week. They can start as early as 6 o'clock in the morning for the swim training through to the evenings, sort of rehearsing for their dance and music productions. So it's a busy time for our students, and that's the challenge, is just making sure that they balance up the whole of their learning program. So their commitment to their service learning as well as their activities. So we do have to make sure that the students are not stretching themselves too much, but it's hard not to when you've got these amazing activity programs on offer. We have one very unique activity, actually, which our students from grade 11 and grade 12 get involved in, which is our unique activity called Initiative for Peace. And it's one of the cornerstones of the UWC peace curriculum. And our students explore concepts of peace and peace building, culminating in a student-led conference in a post-conflict or conflict-affected area. And that is an absolute, as I said, cornerstone to the UWC movement, and one of the activity programs which is very, very unique to us at UWC.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that's great how the sort of mission of UWC is also integrated into these activities and helps students kind of live them as they are engaging and getting involved. Thank you for that. So next, I would like to talk a little bit more and shift gears to talk about the pastoral experience. And by that I mean, residential life, how your calendar works, the exeats, if they're, how does it sort of work for a boarding student in terms of when they have to be there, when they have to not be there, what are your expectations of those kinds of those students, and what do you sort of offer when it comes to pastoral care? And specifically, I'll start with Adam, if I may ask you to talk about that in Harrow Bengaluru. And I just want to point out here to all of our sort of attendees that we do have a Q&A chat. So please, if you have questions, put them in there and we will address them at the end of our session. But for now, Adam, would you like to go ahead and talk about pastoral care?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, so obviously, being a boarding school, pastoral care it's the foundation that everything's built on. Boarding isn't right for all students. The transition can be very, very difficult. It's very daunting for obviously the student having to come settle into a new school, be in a completely different environment. But speaking as a parent myself as well, it's also very daunting for parents. To hand over that trust. And I think when parents do that, they're giving us this incredible responsibility, which is to look after their child. So pastoral care forms the basis of everything we do in the school. And like I said, because we are slightly smaller, I would say, we have a very good staff to student ratio within the school. We can really provide that individual care and attention. We have 4 different boarding houses. Each of the boarding houses has a really dedicated and focused team. We have also tutors, and the idea with our tutors here in Harrow Bengaluru is that they are the link between the boarding houses and what's going on pastorally and their academics and the academic program as well. And we keep these tutors. In many schools you might have very big tutor groups, but in our school every member of staff is a tutor. And that means that we can have very, very small, very focused tutor groups, and we encourage that to be the first point of contact for all of our parents. And that means, like I said, we really get to know every student very well as an individual, strengths and weaknesses, and we can provide the best possible pastoral care.
Great, thank you so much. I think that this answers a lot of questions that parents come to us with. So thanks for sharing all of that. And Katie, I'd like you to also answer the same question. And again, like I said, parents often ask us, because UWC Singapore is in a city, how does it look on the weekends? What do students do? What are they allowed to do? What are they not allowed to do? And, how does that impact, their experience as a boarder?
Absolutely. All great questions, and questions we get asked quite a lot. So we are very lucky in Singapore. It is a very, very safe city. Most families, actually, one of the reasons why they come to Singapore is to provide a safe country for their children to grow up. So to come as a boarder, they know that they are in very safe hands in the school, and also very safe hands in the boarding house, plus Singapore in general. So we are lucky. We do allow students with the right leaving protocols to leave the college and to explore Singapore. We've got an amazing public transport system and also an amazing food options, which does allow the students a chance to manage their own money when it comes to thinking about how much money they're going to be spending on food. Typical weekend, we have many activities that the students can get involved in that are organised by the boarding house. So performances, other experiences around Singapore, other activities. We do on-campus and Singapore-based activities. And then every 6 weeks, the full house comes together on a compulsory activity, usually something physical, so dragon boating, kayaking, cycling expeditions. So there's a lot going on during the weekends as well. Boarding houses remain completely open at weekends. We don't have exeats per se. Students do go home during term breaks, or they can arrange to stay with a host family as long as permissions are in place. Overnights with friends at the weekend, or if family members are visiting as well. With all the required approvals, students can head to spend more time with friends and families if they are visiting Singapore. So an awful lot to do in a very vibrant city. So students are never bored when it comes to boarding.
Great. That's that I think really sort of does give a clear picture of what the experience is like. I think the next question I would like to um, move on to, and people are already asking about this in the chat. So could we talk a little bit about the admissions process? I think what is it that you're looking for, and also what specifically, Patrick, I'd like to ask you about Rosé and the optional sections in your application. What should people complete the optional sections? Why are they optional? So give us a little bit of clarity on that. And yeah, I'll let you go ahead and go first.
Yeah, thank you. Well, with the background that I explained before, at Rosé, obviously we look at curious and well-rounded students who are eager to engage with a diverse and challenging environment, especially nowadays. This new generation is going to face major challenges. So this is definitely something that we also consider when we look at the admission process and the selection of our students. So yes, we assess academic potential, the language ability, the social adaptability. Adaptability is something which is very important nowadays. And of course, also the personal interest. And while some application sections may appear optional, we strongly encourage the families to complete and to provide us what makes their child interesting for our school, because the school is only as good as the students who live in the school. And what brings the richness of the school is not only the infrastructure, it's only part of it. The main richness of the school remain the students themselves. So that's an important factor when we look at the candidates who apply to Rosé. And just for information, it's a rolling admission until grade 8. And after, from grade 9, 10, and 11, because we do not accept students for the last year. So grade 9, 10, and 11, it's selection rounds that the candidates have to go through, because the demands, the candidates are much higher than the number of places that we can offer. That's why we have these selection rounds. So it's an advantage for the young ones to apply early, for anybody to apply early. And we always open the applications 12 months in advance.
Super. Thank you for that specific information. And yes, all these schools do have competitive admissions process, so it is very important to be sort of on top of the expectations and requirements for that. Iona, would you like to talk a little bit about the Charterhouse admissions process?
Yeah, no, of course. And I think I'm a big believer, that I'm really passionate, the admissions process is so important, because it's there to ensure that the children end up in a school that they're going to thrive in. And it is so important. I mean, we're like the others here, we're academically selective, so we want to make sure they're going to thrive academically with us. And we'll test in certain subjects. We can go into that if people are interested, or it's all on our website. But we're looking to make sure that they can access the curriculum and thrive. And then the interview side, so meeting the children, is very much about, again, whether they're going to thrive, whether they're going to have the enthusiasm, whether they want to get stuck into the 150 million things we're going to throw at them, whether they're going to enjoy boarding and be part of a really busy boarding community. And it's really interesting. You meet lots of children. I've met lots of children. I think we all have met lots of children. And it's really lovely when they just come in, and it's almost like they don't want to go home. You've had the interview and they're like ready to start now, because they're just ready. And then there's others that maybe are not quite ready yet. Maybe the sixth form might be a better time for them to come. So, that's part of the fun and the passion, sort of guiding all these families through the process.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. It is, I think you're right. It's something that is very exciting and very, sort of lots of focus and excitement around the process for families. So it is fun to kind of engage with that. Okay, the next question, and this has already come up on the chat, and it's always a very popular question with all of the families we talk to, because I think many people are looking. I mean, the boarding school is typically where you will end school. And so they want to know what's next after that. So what about the college admissions? What about the counseling support? How does the school prepare and support students into the college application process? And what are the outcomes there? So we do get a lot of questions around this. I'm going to ask a few of you to speak about it. I think if you don't mind, Iona, I'll just let you continue talking about that.
Sure. So we prepare our children, they go all over the world. I would say probably about 85% of our UK applicants will go on to study at a Russell Group UK university, I would say, sort of including obviously the good old favourites, the Oxford, the Cambridge, the Imperial, UCL is really popular. And they'll study anything from, I don't know, medicine to business, you name it. It's so broad, it's fantastic. We have many that go to US, North America. We have our own counsellor who prepares the students with all the specialist advice that they need, the SATs, ACTs, all of those things. And we do find that quite a lot of our students want to come to the UK first on their way to America. So that is a really popular route. And again, they go all over. But again, we have, children that go off to Europe as well. Bocconi in Milan is popular. But I think, a lot of the top American universities are very much a top destination for so many students. And I think what the American colleges also look for is everything that all our schools do, which is really exciting. When I think the British universities at times miss a trick a little bit because it's all about how many A stars, but all of this, the wealth of the co-curricular program, whether it's, MUN to the CCF, it doesn't matter. All of that they're really excited about it. So it's a really good fit for lots of students.
Great, thank you. Yes, I think Charterhouse is always an exciting place to see where all the placements come out, because they're quite diverse and good. Adam, would you like to talk about this at Harrow in Bengaluru?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, we very much have the approach that university guidance, careers guidance, I think needs to start as early as it possibly can, because it is a process of understanding the students' expectations, of understanding parental expectations as well, and trying to gauge early on what those ambitions are and making sure that we can tailor the program that the students have to help them achieve their ultimate goal. Of course, there's never any guarantee of that. If students are applying to very competitive universities, first and foremost, they're going to need those very good grades. But like I said, we're always looking to try to make our graduates the most interesting people they possibly can be, and look at those ways that they can really set themselves apart from other students who are applying for the same courses at the same very well-respected universities with the same grades. So we're looking at ways that what we offer can make them stand apart from those other applicants. And we've got, we're a relatively new school. I'm very glad to say we're about to have our first graduating cohort this year. We've already got some absolutely incredible offers. Most of the students are focused on the USA. Again, we've got some excellent offers from universities there. In the UK as well, we've got some fantastic offers, places like Warwick, University of Edinburgh, and so on. And again, we're really looking forward to seeing where those students go. Like I said, we put an awful lot of effort into that first cohort, and we're very, very excited. And we have a very committed and incredibly experienced university guidance team, as well as a really well-resourced university guidance centre. And really, as the students go through the age ranges, and obviously, the sixth form gets closer and closer, like I said, we try to ensure they get that close guidance. We very much keep the parents involved in that process as well, to try to ensure that they're set up for the best possible applications that they can make to their universities.
Yes, thank you so much for highlighting the importance of starting that process early. It really does help. And I think, the more schools can sort of make students aware of how what they're doing in the earlier years really impact the process of college admissions without the stress and pressure, but at least just kind of making sure things are aligned, because it's very stressful to also think about this at the very last minute. So the more the school is preparing students for that reality and eventuality, the better. So thank you for highlighting that. And yeah, the other thing I wanted to say, because as you mentioned, Harrow Bengaluru is a new school, and we interact at the Red Pen, we interact with a lot of university admissions representatives when they come through India, and they always want to go and visit new schools. They're always very interested. I mean, they know the complete, school landscape. Many of them have been coming for years. They understand, there are these 10 schools in Bangalore. If I go there, I should see them, but then they're always very excited to go and see a new school. So I'm sure that you're getting lots of visitors from universities to see your facilities, your school, and what you're offering. And that is always a great way to, showcase your students. So I'm sure that's a great, I'm sure that you're spending a lot of time doing that in your counseling office as well. All right, so we're moving on to our last question, and we do have a lot of questions in the chat, and if any of you panelists want to answer those by typing the answer, if it's a very specific question, please feel free. I don't know if you can see those questions, but after this final sort of roundup, we'll go to the questions, the Q&A. But yeah, when it comes to final roundup, why don't I just go around and ask each of you, why should a student choose your school? Like there are lots of people on this this webinar today and listening to and thinking about, what is the right place for my child? So why don't you sort of help guide them towards your school if it's the right fit? So I'll start with you, Katie. You're on mute, Katie. Sorry.
Sorry, thank you. I was just reading some of the questions actually in the questions and answers. Could you repeat your question again, Kim? And you're on mute now.
I'm on mute. Sorry. I was just saying, could you just sort of give the listeners or the viewers today about sort of guidelines around why should they choose your school?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah, thank you for giving me that opportunity. So I think you all hit the nail on the head that we're all great schools, but not all schools fit everybody. So I think it's key for families to really work out what is going to be good for their child and for them as being part of the community as well. It's not just the student, it's the whole family are also part of a community of a school. So if we hit the marks that students and the families are looking for, so a very diverse, a very inclusive community and a very safe and a globally connected country, we offer exceptional pastoral care, both for day students and for our boarding students. Extensive activity opportunities, great preparation for university, and more importantly, beyond education into adulthood. So students with us receive, it's a big thing to say, but it's actually very, very true, a transformative education with a lifelong commitment to the UWC mission, which really does encourage students to discover their empathy, lifelong love of service, and also responsible leadership, coupled with an amazing network of UWC alumni worldwide, thousands upon thousands of students who are already now translating our mission into action all over the world and giving back to our current community by mentoring our current students. So being part of a global movement, being part of a global alumni, service and peace and sustainability being at the cornerstones of what we do, with a very active time at school and a very safe and very well looked after environment is what students would get if they came to UWC.
Great, thank you so much for that sort of thorough characterization of your school. Iona, would you like to go ahead?
Yes. Well, what else can I say? What I would say is come and visit the schools. I think you can't really beat coming to a school, having a really good look around, coming and meet some of the staff, but more importantly, meeting with the pupils and sort of just getting a feel of their journey through the school. What we love to do is we have children from over 50 different countries. What we love to do is try and match up on a tour so that you can sort of feel that experience and sort of see how their journey went and sort of can see how that path might go. I mean, I think for Charterhouse, look, we offer, as all these schools, we offer a great education. It's a great place to discover your passions, lead with purpose, launch your future, make great friends. We have a phenomenal global community, alumni community as well. Yeah, come and find out more.
Great, thank you. I do agree that visiting schools, if you can, is an amazing way to sort of find out if it's right for you. And I've seen so many instances where sitting at home and reviewing everything, a student thinks the perfect school is school X, and when they do all these tours of school A, B, C, and D, then one of those is actually their first choice, and X might get eliminated. You don't know. You really have to kind of have that feeling and that experience on the campus. Adam, would you like to tell us about Harrow?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, I just want to emphasize, very much what the other panelists have said. We're all fantastic schools. We will all offer incredible academic programs, extracurricular programs as well. And there really is no such thing as a best school. There is very much only the school that is the best fit for your child. So absolutely, I would agree that it's a case of visiting schools, of getting to understand the schools and how they work and the character of the schools, and making the decision, is that right for your child in particular? And again, to kind of to come back to the question, I think really why somebody would choose us is that they would get the best of, like I said, the tradition that you can expect. We have a respect for the Harrow tradition, obviously. But we're very future focused, and we have the best of both worlds in that sense. We have this long history being tied to Harrow UK, being part also of a global community of the Harrow family of schools. And like I said, we've brought all of that to India. We're a very, because I got a question in the comments about how diverse we are. We are a diverse community. Obviously, we're in India. Most of our students are Indian, but we have a range of different nationalities as well. We have a very large Korean population. We have students from the UK, from Europe as well. And we have an incredibly diverse body of staff as well. Again, from across the world, lots from the UK, but also from lots of other countries across the world. And all of that feeds into really the richness of the education going beyond the curriculum, because I really believe education, is something that happens all the time in schools, and we're always learning from the people that we spend time with. And we have a very diverse, a very rich community. And really, like I said, we've brought the best, I would say, of the British traditions of education, but also we're very international in our makeup, and we've brought that to India.
Wonderful, thank you. Yes, I think that's a very unique aspect of your school, is you're in India. And many of our families just, that's just far enough for their students. So thank you. And Patrick, I think we cannot deny that Switzerland is a very special place, and especially when it comes to education. So why don't you tell us about the Rosé and why a student might choose your school?
First, I would like to say that it's a very reassuring 40 minutes that we spent, because we're not reinventing education. I'm so glad that everybody here, the panelists, are talking a little bit the same language, and that's maybe something that is reassuring and goes totally in the way that we all are convinced of, thing like that. But I could say that the points that I mentioned in the introduction about what makes Rosé unique, well, I will try to make it short. I mean, you choose Rosé because you made your search, but also because you personally visited. And that's where I follow, I think Iona said, it's a feeling that you have, or I call it the vibe. And because you are convinced that this is a happy school for your child, and a school where the environment will allow your child to flourish. So if I would have to say something, maybe a little marketing sentence, I would say that Le Rosé is not just a school, it's a launch pad for life. But not only Rosé, any school will be that.
Excellent. Thank you so much for wrapping that up for us and including everyone in your final comments. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Let's move on, if we can, quickly to some of the Q&A. I think we have a little bit of time. I think that... oh, what happened? Okay. I think that the Harrow Bengaluru sort of diversity was answered by you,
Kim, your microphone is cut.
Thank you. I was talking away. No, I was just saying that I think some of the questions have been answered. And Adam, you were able to discuss about the diversity of students in Bengaluru, so I will leave that question. I want to actually answer one of the last questions that came in where a parent asked, I think it was asked, oh, now I can't see it. It was asked about ISC, and I'm assuming all of you will accept ISC students. If anybody has any kind of specificity around Indian school boards, you can please go ahead and talk about that. Otherwise, someone is asking about scholarships. So would each of you like to talk a little bit about scholarships or bursary or any kind of financial support that your school offers for international students? I'll let you guys speak up. Katie, I think UWC's, I'll let you start, but I think UWC's support is understood, but why don't you go?
Yeah, thank you, Kim. So we are slightly unique. We don't manage our own scholarship program. It's actually the national committees all around the world. I think there's about 150 national committees around the world who run our scholarship program, and they nominate scholars to other UWCs around the world. So if anybody is interested in a scholarship entry point into UWC SEA, they do need to contact their country's national committee. More information about that is on the website. Typically, we take about 25 scholars every year, new into grade 11, but you do need to do that via the national committee process. You can't apply both as a scholar and as a fee payer. So that is one big takeaway that you must remember. You would either apply as a fee payer or a scholar, not both at the same time.
Thank you. Patrick, the next question that just came in was, does Rosé provide any scholarship? Would you like to speak about that?
Yes, we have it's not a full scholarship, it's a partial scholarship. We also like to call it a financial aid program. And like I heard before, it's not run by the school admission. It's a foundation of Rosé, the Rosé Foundation. So you apply as a regular applicant. And then you just mentioned that you're requesting a financial aid. And then the foundation, we from the admissions suggest some exceptional candidates to this foundation. And according to the funds that they have currently, they will finance one or several scholars a year.
Great, thank you for that. Iona, what about a charter house?
Charterhouse, so we have a full scholarship program. So there's entrance scholarships, and that is primarily about enrichment. So we offer scholarships for sort of academic, for music, performing arts, sport, design, engineering, all of those. We then also, alongside that, and we do this all sort of ourselves, it's not a separate foundation, we offer financial assistance in the form of bursaries, and those are means tested. And the way we run this is that we primarily support those students that gain a scholarship, but it's not exclusive to, but that's sort of the primary focus. And happy to discuss if anybody wants to talk about that. Just make contact with us. It can be quite a complicated process. It happens all these different times throughout the year, but it is quite competitive. But yeah, I'm happy to discuss.
Adam, would you like to say anything about scholarships at Harrow Bengaluru?
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said before, we are a relatively new school. We have offered some financial aid packages before, but the scholarship program is certainly an area that we're looking into going forward. You know, we recognise the benefit of making our community as diverse as we possibly can do, and of course, obviously, we want to bring those students in as well who really are going to focus on their academics. And we recognise the importance of being able to provide support for those students as well. So again, we work very much on a case-by-case basis, and I'd encourage anybody interested to get in contact with us.
Hi. Okay. Thank you. Sorry, I'm just looking at the questions. I'm like, but since I have you, Adam, would you like to talk a little bit? Somebody's asked this question about, what is the preparation required for Harrow? And I think they mean the admissions. And do you have any resources students can use? And I think particularly this person may be asking about testing. Is there testing? Are there resources for it? I think even other schools who have, who have testing in their process can discuss this. But since it was addressed to Harrow, I'll let you go ahead.
Yeah, no, we do. Absolutely. I mean, the most important thing for us is to get as full and clear a picture as possible of the students that apply to join us. And like I said, we want to understand their motivations. We want to understand very much their personal circumstances, their background as well. Because like I said earlier, we want to make sure that it is the right school for them. And part of that is obviously understanding their academic background. We do use commonly used baseline assessments, which are cognitive abilities tests. And these will give us an understanding of the strong areas, the weak areas, and, again, to emphasize, all of us have weak areas. All students will have weaker areas and stronger areas, and that's absolutely fine. But we will have assessments as part of the process. And obviously, we're very interested in the grades that the students have in the schools that they're coming from as well.
Great, thank you so much. Let me just see if there's any other, there are a few more questions that I think are specific to you, Adam, but I will move on and ask, I think there's some more questions about scholarships, which we did just answer, so I'm not going to go ahead and answer that. And another another attendee has asked about admissions criteria. So Adam, you just mentioned this testing. I know that all of you have different criteria. I'm not sure if this person means like what's the sort of bar you have to achieve in terms of your grades or anything. But if there's any of you, I think you've all spoken about holistic admissions. You're looking for students who, are going to take advantage of all the various things you have on your campus and be, sort of a member of the kind of community in a way that is impactful. So besides that, if any of you have any sort of like, you must also have this in your admissions process, please speak up. Anything like that? Criteria.
We do something slightly different for our high school students. So yes, they have an interview. They'll have an interview for a boarding student with one of our boarding team members, but they actually join us for what we call a virtual immersion program. And we get to meet them in small groups virtually. And our own students run a forum session for all of our applicants, for our boarders and our day students. So we actually use our current students as part of our admissions process, and they run discussion forums, breakout rooms, and they interact with our students and also give feedback on how the students interacted with them and the group as a whole. So we do have a slightly different process when it comes to the assessment or the test process for looking at our high school students, which may not be the same as other schools.
Great, that's really good to know. Thank you for highlighting that. I'm gonna just make this.
Can I just add something, Kim?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, just for the admission process about the admission criteria, I just want to add that they are very different according to the age. A young, we start at the age of 9, we will mainly look, is this student ready to come to a boarding school? Because we're purely boarding school, it's a very young age. And that's when it answers another question that seems to have been answered about our summer camp program. We will advise our candidates, start with a summer camp, doesn't have to be ours. Any summer camp is a very good experience. It's what I call an eye opener, not only for the student themselves, but mainly also for the parents, that they realize my little baby is way more autonomous and independent than I would have ever thought of. That's maybe an important experience. And then obviously the higher the grade you apply for us at Rosé, the more the academics will come into the game. Because we have also our own ambitions and things like that, and the number of applicants after is disproportional to the places that we have. So the selections are very different if you're applying with 9 or 10, or if you're applying with 15 or 16.
Yes, that's a really good point. Thank you so much. And maybe if I'm understanding you correctly, you're saying that at a grade 7 or 8, which someone's asking about, you're looking more for, is the student ready? You're not necessarily testing them on academic subjects and things.
We do test them in language, French or English, because we're bilingual. They can choose which language they want, and math. So we have a scientific and a language test. And the interview is very important. What we allow our the candidates to come, it's what we call admission day. They shadow a current student. And that brings after also the mention of what I call the vibe, to feel at the end of the day. The students often say, in most of the cases, they feel, I feel confident coming here. For some of them, maybe they will come back and say, well, this is not the environment I want. And that's absolutely fine. It's also a good knowledge to have to feel that the vibe is not the one that they were expecting.
Yes, correct. All right. Unless anyone has more to say about this topic, I'm going to move on to what I think should be the last question, because we've run out of time. And there are some other questions in here about, people want to know, they want brochures, they want to know more about summer programs. And I think we can share that information independently with different people who've asked for it. But the final question that I'm seeing here is, and you would have all experienced this, is students shifting from like an Indian board, an ICSE or CBSE board, into your international boards for, the sixth form or the IB diploma program or whatever. And how have you seen a lot of sort of red flags around this kind of a transition? And and how does the school manage that? If you have any specific examples or any specific resources that your school you think kind of has in place to help students shift curricula, please speak about it.
I mean, if it's okay, I'll just jump in here for a second. I mean, first and foremost, it's about getting to really understand the student and understand their schooling background. And so obviously when we bring new students in coming from different curricula, we have systems in place across different subject areas to try and gauge an understanding of the background that they already have in those subjects. Obviously, in certain subject areas, it's more important than others. So in subject areas like mathematics, for example, which we call a building block subject, what you're learning has to be based on foundational knowledge. This is especially important. But there are other subject areas, things like humanities, for example, where that's not necessarily the case, because many of the skills that you learn, regardless of the content, the skills can be transferable to different content. So like I said, when we have new students in, that's the main the teachers in those initial lessons, is to try to gauge the level of understanding of the students. And then obviously we encourage the teachers at that point to put an additional program in place to support those students to ensure that they can catch up, that we can identify and fill in any of those gaps to make sure that they can catch up as quickly as possible.
Thank you. Yeah, I think, you would have seen this a lot sitting in India, because students are coming from all across the country and others from different parts of the world. And yeah, it is something that I think is very important when it comes to the transition that students make. It's not all social, it's not all, living away from home. It's also an academic experience that has to be sort of translated for them. And that's very important. Anything else to add from anyone here on this topic?
Yeah, I would only just say that we welcome children from all different academic backgrounds. Some have come obviously through the Indian board, but we have them from the American system. They come through the MYP. And I'm talking more about sixth form here. Our testing is very much to make sure for the sixth form it is different than the underschool, because we test very much subject specific. So what they're thinking about, their 3 subjects for higher level in the IB, we'd like to see those, or what they're considering doing for the A level, and that gives us a good benchmark. But what it also is really important are the references from their current school with that information. It's exactly what Adam was saying, sort of understanding that schooling background, because so much of this is transferable. And then we have them 24/7, so there's a ton of support as well to get them when we need to get them. But it's a combination. It's back to that, finding the right fit and making sure they're going to thrive. Yeah,
that's a wonderful point about boarding schools, is they can get extra support when they need it
They
in
can't
real
escape.
time. Yeah. All right. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us today and also for staying a little bit over time. I think we've been able to cover lots of topics, and I hope that, you know, the audience has really understood that, you know, these are schools in different parts of the world that have some similarities, some differences. Some of those, you know, will matter to you as someone who's exploring boarding schools. So please keep that in mind as you kind of go through this process, and keep exploring. I think that's something that we all highly encourage, and reach out to us or to any of the schools if you need specific help or have further questions. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us, and have a great weekend. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you to everybody. Thank you, Kim, for hosting.
Of course.
Very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.